Hi, this is Kelly Maida, and I want to tell you about my spiritual awakening journey. Some people call it a spiritual awakening or dark night of the soul. Whatever you call it, it can be really scary at times, especially if you're not prepared for it, because I was not. I had my first awakening back in 2012. I went to a psychic, and the psychic said I was on this spiritual journey. I had gifts. I'm a light worker. I'm an empath, deep into my intuition, etc. And all I could think of was, Leo from Charmed, that TV show, and maybe I'm a white lighter. And I laughed it off a little bit. But then I started having tower moments and wished that I had taken that advice, because when my foundation started to crumble around me, it was scary. The universe was finding a way to redirect me, and if you're not on the right path, it's funny how the universe does it. It just starts taking everything and redirecting you. The psychic also said I was meant to write, and I was meant to get my word out, but it took years. It took till 2 years ago. And that was because I was not listening to myself. I did a lot of purging. And when I say that, I mean getting rid of negative patterns and belief systems. And none of this was easy, because there was times in this awakening I would get panic attacks to where I was shaking, flu-like symptoms, and times when I'm like, am I dying? Because it's hard when doctors are telling you you're okay, except for some sinus and allergy problems, and you're just like, no, I'm not okay. What is going on with me? I started changing everything. I changed my diets. I took sugar out, caffeine out. I quit alcohol. I actually quit alcohol 4 years ago, but, I just started really changing everything. And one of the biggest things, I started being very careful who I let into my life, whose energy was on the same vibration as mine. Because 2 years ago, when I was attacked and beat up and everything, that's when it really hit me. That's when my spiritual awakening, the second one, really started hard, And one of the hardest things was I was in North Carolina at the time and loving the beach, because I was living out in North Carolina for 5 years, but the universe decided I was not on my path, and I ended up moving back to upstate New York, and that was probably one of the hardest decisions I had to make. I never planned on going back to New York, and to be honest, the cold, it's so cold in New York, and I miss the beach. But after the hurricanes, the situations, and allergies and everything, I just ended up going back to upstate New York. And now, I've got different sets of challenges adjusting to the cold, jobs changing, people changing. But it's really hard trying to find people you can relate to when you're going through this. I found myself alone, not being able to relate to people kind of falling away. Because as my vibration's rising, if people are not meeting me at that level and rising as well, then they're falling out of my life, or, just temporarily. And that's hard, going through this alone, But I think the biggest thing that helped me is my relationship with God, staying closer with Him and my angels, and knowing that I'm really never alone. I always have spirit with me, and that's one thing that I've learned throughout all of this. Is that you're never really alone. And the more I keep working on myself, I am going to come into my soul tribe, my spirit family, and people that I can relate to, and to just never give up has been my biggest motto throughout all of this. And that this is just a part of life. I feel it's a part of a plan. I'm sure I probably signed up for this, even though I asked myself why would I do that? But the biggest thing too is I'm learning is to not question myself anymore with those things, to just go with the flow and to keep growing and keep evolving. Because like that saying goes, whatever does not grow is dead. So we just have to keep growing. Whoever does not join us on the mission, it's going to be replaced with something else. There's a bigger plan. That's all I can really say, is that this is a big plan, but there was many times throughout this, especially the past 2 years, so how hard it's been, when death happens.